Howdy guys and gals, welcome back to the Social Regressive. In a previous video, we assembled the perfect donor lower for the upper that we're going to be checking out here today. But make sure you don't miss the video on this so you can see what I selected to put this all together. We have some kind of nice uprated parts, we have some pretty budget related parts, and I think you're going to be interested to see how all of these work out together. But today we are going to concentrate on that upper. CMMG has had their whole Banshee that you can buy that uses 5.7 magazines in order to shoot 5.7 by 28mm ammo. And they've had this for about 2 years. I got to test one of these out at the range day with a Rack Veteran 8888, and I got to just kind of plink around with it, and it's fun, it's accurate, very low recoil, just a really neat little thing. But they've gone in a slightly different direction now. You can still get that Banshee if you want the whole thing and you want to be able to use your FN mags, but now they have this kit right back here. This attaches to just any standard lower, so you don't need their special Banshee lower, and you don't need to use the FN mags. Now you can use kind of AR pattern mags, use just a standard lower and slap this upper on top, and all of that comes in this kit right here. Let's take a close look. This is it. Everything comes in this one white box. All right, so we have one magazine. There's the upper, and a second magazine. Each one of these holds 40 rounds of ammo, and you can see that they kind of have their own little shape to them. They look very much like AR mags. But the big thing to take a look at right up here is this follower. So this kind of pushes all of the rounds kind of up toward the front, and it has a block here at the back that's going to kind of take up a lot of that extra space. And there's something really cool about this follower that we're going to check out here in a second. But these mags, they feel really nice. They have good sharp lips on them. Yeah, everything about this just feels really nice. Well, let's check out the upper itself. All right, there it is. You have a couple of different options from CMMG. They have a 5-inch barrel version, and there's this one, the 8-inch barrel version. A couple different reasons to think about each different one. The 5-incher, of course, is going to be 3 inches shorter than this, and it's just going to be a bit more compact. So if you want that smallest truck gun that you can, then you're definitely going to get into that, or something that's just really tiny package overall and really easy to move around in tight environments. One reason to think about this longer one, the 8-incher, is that you're going to get a little bit more velocity out of that longer barrel, of course, and you're also going to get more rail. So if you want to be able to attach more M-LOK accessories to here, like I will be running some M-LOK things on the side right here, you're going to get just quite a bit extra space. You'll probably have room for just one small attachment on the 5-incher, but you can see that we actually have quite a bit of real estate all the way around on this. CMMG offers all of their parts, their lowers, their whole rifles, and whole pistols at different levels, and this one is the level 200. So the level 300 has a big, wide, kind of ambidextrous charging latch back here. It has these massive wings, and I really do like those a lot, but the level 200 has a muzzle brake up here, so that's why I went with this one. CMMG offers all of their uppers, their lowers, their complete rifles, and pistols in a couple of different levels. They call them the level 100, 200, and 300. At the 100 level, you tend to get a lot of the, kind of simpler parts. And then as you step up into 200 and 300, you get things like muzzle brakes and great big charging latches that are ambidextrous. This one is actually the level 200 that you see right here. So it includes a muzzle brake, and it doesn't come with the gigantic ambidextrous charging latch back here. I do like that big charging latch if you want to head in that direction, but for me, I was really looking for the muzzle brake on this, even though we are shooting a pretty small round. And the color that you see on this is called Stormtrooper White. This was my son's idea. He's really into Star Wars. We haven't let him watch any of the prequel trash or any of the modern trash. He has watched the original 3. He's seen A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Jedi. And he really wanted to put together a Stormtrooper rifle. So that's what we have going on through here with this Stormtrooper White Cerakote. They have a bunch of different colors to fit your style if you want something that's going to blend in more in your woodland environment or out in the desert, or there's just a color that you really like. They have a bunch of different Cerakote colors you can pick. But overall, just looking at this, we still have reasonably sharp edges all the way around on the Picatinny rail. These guys have just nailed it. I have seen some Cerakote jobs that really looked like globby garbage, and they actually prevented certain parts from moving, but everything here just kind of feels wonderful. They really nailed this right here. There is some real difficulty in putting together an upper for 5.7 by 28. First off, there are the mags, which they fixed with these very special ones right here. But more than that, the bolt is a little bit of a strange thing. Usually, I'll go ahead and pull this bolt out so we can take a look at it. Usually, okay, on an AR, you're going to have a gas-driven system where you have gas coming through a tube up here, pushing back on this and driving it backward. With this one that's going to have a lower gas pressure, that's certainly going to be one of the hurdles to jump there. But in general, this is actually a blowback cartridge. So you're going to get straight blowback, or maybe some kind of delayed blowback with whatever kind of pistol or rifle that you have. It's just going to have kind of a heavier bolt carrier and it's going to blow it back. But CMMG has used their excellent radial delay blowback system in here so that you get kind of the best of all worlds. This bolt head, as you can see on the backside right here, it's not flat. These have little angles carved into them, and these are going to delay that recoil back here. So this is actually going to stay put for just a little bit longer as your card or the case expands to fill the chamber. It's going to have time to cool off just a little bit, get the bullet time to leave the muzzle, and then it's going to, as the brass starts to shrink back down, then it's going to have enough time, just that little bit of angle right there, that little radius, that is going to give it enough time to, okay, so there it is in battery, just barely turned right there. And then as it starts to push backward, that's when it releases and is able to make it out, push back and extract and eject the round. It's a brilliant system that I showed on the 9mm Banshee. I'll put a link to that video right here. The 9mm Banshee was accurate, it ran cool, it ran clean. This system that they have with the radial delayed blowback is just ingenious, and yes, it does work. And especially with this cartridge, I think it's going to be really happy with this. With that Banshee, like I said, I've actually shot the Banshee 5.7. Yeah, it was accurate, reliable, and it seemed to function really well, and I expect it to do really well in this setup. Some other things that you're going to notice about this bolt: this is not quite standard. This is skeletonized, especially here at the back. We just have very little meat overall, and as you can see on this side right here, we have a huge cutout. The rest up here is pretty standard, but yeah, there's no gas key because there is no gas coming back through here. And this is actually going to be one of the really cool things about firing this suppressed. Since we can just use a 5.56 suppressor, it's going to be really quiet on that side, but there's no gas coming back, so there's nothing to kind of blow your ear out, your right ear. Usually there's gas venting out this hole that you see right there, and it can actually make your AR pretty loud even though it is suppressed. This one should run very quiet overall. Here's the big question: how will this upper mate with my lower? This is one where you can run into some issues where maybe things flop around a little bit. We're going to see how tight this all locks up. And when putting this together, these radial delayed blowback things, since they do have some spring pressure on the bolt head, I like to put them together, not just one of those pivot or the takedown pins. I don't just do one at a time. I try to do them both together. It makes it just a little bit easier. But yeah, if I can hold it back, kind of push it back, there we go. There's the front, and there's the rear. All right, did we achieve Stormtrooper status here? Yeah, this really does look like a little Stormtrooper gun. This is so cool looking. Yeah, my boy is going to be so pleased with this. But let's check out the lockup, see how tight this is. All right, I can feel a tiny bit. You might be able to hear that right there. So there is some. I can feel it wiggling just a little bit as I push it back, but really there is not much at all. This is locked up very tightly. So there you go. There's a good tip for you. A PSA lower, a Palmetto State Armory lower, will mate up with CMMG pretty darn well. That feels quite good. Let's give it a quick function test. All right, everything rides really smoothly. Flip over to fire. This is that LE145 trigger from Rise. Okay, feels good. Tell you what, let's... Okay, fire. And I'm gonna hold the trigger down. Let up. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about the LE145. Very small over travel. You just have to let up a tiny little bit and then you're right back to taking your second shot. This should be really quick out at the range for fast fire. All right, so overall, it's a small package. Yes, you can make it smaller with the 5-incher, but and you can actually make it smaller with a smaller brace back here. This is the RIP brace from CMMG, and this is their kind of regular size one. They have a micro CQB one that's even smaller, but I wanted one that can fit my stature and my son's a little better. I'm not really concerned about how tiny it is for stowage, but yeah, this should fit both of us quite well. I mentioned that we would come back to check out the magazines, and here is the party trick of this whole thing. All right, I've got an empty mag slapped in there, and watch what happens when I pull back on an empty mag. Check it out, last round hold open. The little block at the back of the mag there kind of simulates the kind of empty mag follower when it hits up at the top. So it actually catches everything in the right spot, and it locks it back perfectly. In the previous video, I talked about the purpose for this. This can be a great little truck gun. This can be a good home defense gun, which I think I'm going to kind of set this up for. And this can be a really fun range gun, not just for you, but for a little person as well, like my son, because this is so lightweight overall, quite short, and there is enough handrail right here. And this is something that I was thinking about when I was trying to decide if I wanted a 5-incher or an 8-incher. I wanted there to be enough room that my son couldn't really get his hand out in front of the muzzle, especially once I put a suppressor on here. I wanted this to be something that he can be very safe firing, and this is going to just give a little bit of extra wiggle room. I could put a hand stop right out here, but since he is young, I'm going to be just kind of probably holding his hand on here for a while until he's really used to it. For those uses, though, I have some very specific parts in mind. First off, I want my boy to learn how to use iron sights. Iron sights are the basis for every AR, I think. You really have to know how to use these. To me, these are not just backup sights. These are the weapon's sights. And then if I want to be able to extend capabilities a bit, then I'll throw on a scope. But we're going to put these on here. These are brand new from Blackhawk. These are their hybrid sights, and these are going straight at Magpul. And I think that they have done a really brilliant job with this. First off, you can see that these are plastic. They're very, very lightweight. They weigh just about nothing. I think that the box is probably about half the weight that I'm feeling right here. Here's the rear sight, and yes, it weighs just about nothing out of the box. This is probably some kind of reinforced plastic all the way around, and then it has steel in these kind of significant parts that need to be able to kind of handle what's going on here. So you do have a pin that runs here between the kind of body that attaches down here and then the actual kind of posts. You have steel running right through here. I think these little knobs feel like aluminum, but a steel screw running through there. Steel aperture that can snap onto the magnet that you have. And then this is actually what's going to thread onto here. So let's go ahead and attach these. I should mention that these are designed to be mostly toolless. Once you get it installed, this is something that you should be able to manipulate by hand. So once you get out to the range and start to figure out your zero, you can just kind of click this with your fingers. This one at the rear is going to handle your windage, and the front one is going to handle elevation. Each click on here is 0.75 MOA of elevation, and then here on the rear one, this is going to be 1/2 MOA per click. And yes, these are easy to turn by hand. So if you are out at the range, you don't really have to monkey around trying to find different, screwdrivers and things in order to get these going. All you have to do is just use your fingertips. Attachment is simple. I'm going to remove the kind of cross bolt, the lug that goes through here, with an Allen wrench. There we go, so there's the bolt. There's a nut on the other side, don't lose that. I'm going to back out the charging latch, and then this just slides into position, and I should be able to just look straight down to see where it's lining up. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there. Okay. The nut goes right back into that spot, and it's going to be captured there, so you don't have to worry about having a wrench to be able to hold it in place. The actual sight is going to hold it in its proper spot. So just crank this down a little bit, keep it from moving. All right, and that's it. Let's take a look at it in place now. This is very, very slim overall. I've talked about some of the other ones like the Ultradynes that sit very low down and flat, like the GG&G MAD. That one also sits very flat. You will have no trouble getting the ocular bell of your scope over the top of this. If you have issues with any sight at all, it's not going to be this one. This is just teeny tiny right there. And it does have a pretty positive lock. You have to kind of break over some detent down in here, and it looks like you can actually adjust this if you want, maybe make it a little tighter. Not sure about that, but you do have a screw running through here. There we go, sits flat. It's definitely going to require some real pressure. You have to try to put it down and put it back up, but it should be nice and quick to deploy. The front sight will get the same treatment. I just removed the cross bolt, and then I can slide this on from the front. I should mention that this takes a 3/32 Allen wrench. And it does come with one in the box, so don't worry about that. Although these are my primary sights, I will need to do some accuracy testing and do some kind of further distance shooting. So this is what I'll be using for that. This is the Bushnell AR Optics 4.5 to 18. I have a video on this that was kind of a preliminary video before I even used it for anything. I'll put a link to that video here. And I have been testing this on the Scout AR, and now I'll be using it on here. This is a great little option for folks that want to be able to stretch out a little bit and do it on a budget. Everything that Bushnell has been doing lately has much, much improved glass. This actually has pretty darn good resolution and color reproduction. The only thing that I'll ding it on is that it does get into some barrel distortion at the edges, but you got to trade something for that price tag. I've got this sitting in a Weaver thumb nut mount, and I've already kind of tested the location for where this should go. My ocular bell should end right about there. And with this little one-piece mount, I can pretty well slap this from my Scout AR over to this one. And yeah, you can see there's tons of daylight between the scope bell right here and the rear sight. This AR Optics scope uses a bullet drop compensating reticle, and you can use Bushnell's app on your phone to figure out, as long as you know kind of what your ammo is and roughly what speeds it's going to be going, it'll tell you exactly what zoom you should have this stuck on if you want to be able to adjust for different distances. And by the way, you see this little throw lever right here? This actually does come with the scope. Pretty cool. It actually comes with two of them. You have a short one and a long one that you can use for very quickly bouncing between the different zooms that you have right here. I have one last goodie that I want to run on this. If I want to put my Mantis X on here, which is that little trainer device, it's full of accelerometers that can see exactly what I do before the shot, during the shot, and after it. And then it will give me advice on what to do to fix my problems and to be able to shoot better. It actually gives me a score for every shot that I take. If I want to put that on here, or if I want to attach like this Balder Pro, any kind of light or laser light combo like this one, and this one has a green laser. Make sure you check out the past video that I did where we shot pistols with this. Really cool little thing. But if I wanted to slap this here on the side, this is M-LOK, and like I mentioned in a previous video, there's not really much you can do. There aren't many parts that are native M-LOK attach. So if I wanted to do that, I need some kind of intermediate part to put on there. And I've talked about Grovetec. You can check that video out in the, I'll put that down in the description as well. They are made in the US of A, and all these little M-LOK and KeyMod attachments are going to help you attach all your various parts that you need. They have swivel stud adapters, they have those quick detach kind of push button sockets that you can attach, so if you want to run a sling on here, you can get those. They keep everything very lightweight. Type 3 anodized. These are tough, light, and they attach very easily. So I'm just going to pop this right up here. So if I need to run any kind of light, laser, or other little side accessory, like actually my GoPros, in order to show you footage of a lot of the stuff that I do, I use GoPros. There we go. And they can slap right onto here. And this one, as you can see, it has 5 Picatinny rail sections with these little slots. And then it also has those push button sockets, so I can put a sling in there. There you go, my boy. One custom Stormtrooper rifle for us to play with. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna be using this scope on here. This probably just about doubles the weight on here. That's a lot of scope to be putting on such a little thing. That's more like it. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. These little sights, I think, are gonna be exactly right. I learned on iron sights. I'm going to teach using iron sights. And yeah, these are really darn cool. One thing I didn't point out is that on this rear sight, you do have the usual flip aperture. So you can get the really large one that's kind of more of a ghost ring, and then you have the smaller one for more precision shooting. So yeah, this should be able to get hits on target at any distance that we like, way up close, all the way back to, 100-yard shooting should be pretty easy with this. And yeah, we're gonna see exactly how that goes. I have 3 different kinds of ammo, and hopefully sometime soon we'll get the Spear gold dots as well. But we're gonna be testing these 3 for accuracy through here. I want to see, number 1, okay, how tightly do these groups? That's gonna be its own video to see, why is it that Stormtroopers miss? If they had a CMMG like this one, which these CMMGs are always accurate. Everything that I have shot with these has been quite precise, especially that 6.5 Creedmoor. That Endeavor is totally good out to a mile with 6.5 Creedmoor. Yeah, great little thing. This one I expect to be just as wonderfully accurate, but we're gonna see how these actually shoot. And again, if Stormtroopers had this ammo, who is it that's really missing? Is it the Stormtrooper, or is it his equipment? We're gonna find out. So yeah, we get accuracy with these, and then we're gonna start punching through body armor. I'm gonna take some level 3A, which some of the 5.7 loads should be able to get through. That's what it was originally designed to do. It was designed to be able to punch through soft body armor and be able to cause kind of limited damage on the other side without over penetration. But we're gonna see which of these can make it through that armor, how much damage it does in gel afterward, and then here's the real kicker here. We're gonna see at what distance it can do it, like when it actually stops being able to make it through the armor. This is gonna be a whole lot of fun, so make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell down below. That'll let you know when new videos come out. It'll just pop up straight to you. This is probably your best chance to be able to see when new videos come out. Thank you to everybody that has made projects like these possible. Thank you to patrons of the Destructive Arts. We have Sportsman's Guide and Stan and Mary at the 338 Lapua Magnum level. And we have Joseph Davis, we have Peter and Mr. No Name at the 300 Win Mag level, and a whole bunch of other folks that are chipping in $1 or $2 a month to keep videos like these coming so that I can buy weird ammo like this, so that we can do some of the ammo reloading tests that we're going to do with 5.7, and who knows what other kinds of things that we'll try around here. Thanks a bunch, everybody. If anybody else wants to be one of those that chips in $1 or $2 a month to help keep these videos out there, I'll put a link to Patreon. But everybody, I'll see you around. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Even if you didn't like this particular content, go ahead and subscribe. There's probably something coming that's more up your alley. Check out this playlist right here. This is going to have videos in a similar vein to what you just watched. These two videos we cherry-picked for you. And finally, The Social Regressive is on Patreon. So, you can become a patron of the Destructive Arts and earn some goodies while helping us to provide high-quality videos just by kicking us a few bucks a month. Thanks a bunch for your patronage.